Hi everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Amanda Clark. I'm an advanced accredited practicing dietitian, and I run a clinic called Great Ideas in Nutrition at Tweed Heads. But a big part of my work is that I create tools to help people to eat the right amount. Because as a dietitian, there are decisions that I make in thinking about what to eat, how often to eat, how much to eat, that it can be handy if you can get a grip on. So I've tried to factor all of those thoughts into the portion perfection eating plan. So for this session, we're going to talk about how much and what to eat after bariatric surgery. And I've been working in bariatric surgery for over 20 years. So just let me share my screen. Hoping you can see that okay. Okay, so this shows a range of our tools. These are the bariatric specific tools. You can see the Portion Perfection for Bariatrics book is orange, and orange is kind of the theme of the bariatric products. So let's have a think about what's important when thinking about what and how much to eat after bariatric surgery. So the first thing I'm going to say is the regularity is something to think about. And the evidence is that when you space your food out over the day, you do a better job of holding on to your muscle mass because you've got protein coming through, or amino acids, the breakdown products of protein, coming through in a steady stream. It also helps to control blood sugar, it helps to control mood, and it helps to control blood cholesterol levels. It also gives your body a bit of a chance to make use of the food without being overloaded. Because in the extreme, if you only ate once a day and you put, say, 1,000 calories in one large meal, for bariatric surgery specifically, you're stretching your stomach pouch and your stomach will adapt to that larger meal, and it would be very difficult to feel satisfied on a smaller meal. But also, when you put 1,000 calories in at once, your body can't deal with it all. And so the way it gets it out of the way is it stores most of it as body fat. So if you imagine that your body can burn about 200 calories after a meal, by keeping some of those nutrients, some glucose, some fatty acids, some amino acids circulating in your bloodstream, those can be used for energy straight away without ever actually becoming part of your fat stores. But anything beyond that initial, I'm going to say about 200 calories, theoretically, everything beyond that will be stored as body fat. So if you take your 1,000 calories in 6 meals a day, you can burn 200 or so 6 times a day. If you take it in one go, you can burn 200 and store the rest. So I hope that makes sense. The second thing to think about is the volume, how much to eat. And I'm going to say that whilst ever you want to lose weight, whilst ever you still have excess weight, it's handy to maintain your intake at no more than 1 cup of food at a time. So that 1 cup of food is designed to just give you a little bit of stretch in that stomach. And you've got a nerve ending called the vagus nerve that goes from your stomach to your brain and sends the message that, oh, we've got a bit of stretch happening. She's eaten something, so, we're probably okay now. We can switch off the hunger. The more times you eat beyond 1 cupful, the more you overstretch that pouch. And stomachs are stretchy membranes, and they aim to accommodate whatever we give it. So if you want to hibernate and just eat a whole lot at a particular time of year and then sleep for 6 months or whatever, then your stomach will stretch to that capacity and you'll feel really uncomfortable to start with, but then after a while you won't. So because there are other things that drive our appetite other than hunger hormones, we've got we've got stress, we've got emotion, we've got circumstance, we've got aromas of food, we've got celebrations. All these things drive us to eat despite our level of satisfaction. So I guess the challenge after bariatric surgery is to still keep it to 1 cup, because whilst ever you don't go over 1 cup, you will maintain your ability to feel satisfied on 1 cup of food, if that mechanism works correctly, which usually it does. So that's why I suggest using an external measure of portion control rather than relying on feelings of satisfaction or fullness. And satisfaction is our goal. Satisfaction is the absence of hunger. Fullness always means you've gone too far and you've started to do that stretching. So I know the question will come in about, well, if I've already stretched my stomach, can I shrink it back down again? And the answer is probably not. But you can quieten down the messages of panic or hunger that your stomach gives you when you eat that small amount. So the ultimate reset diet is to just eat the way you meant to and enable your stomach to come back. And I would give it 10 days. If after 10 days you're still feeling ravenous, that mechanism isn't working for whatever reason. So you may need to use some other strategies to control appetite. So that's volume. We've got a higher protein need. And in fact, in the first year after bariatric surgery, when you've got that rapid weight loss phase, your requirement for protein or your ideal protein intake is higher than it was before surgery. So obviously that kind of clears out fat and carbohydrate, and we've got this real focus on protein. So to give you a bit of an idea, prior to surgery, your recommended amount of protein is 0.8 of a gram of protein per kilogram ideal body weight. And ideal body weight for this calculation is calculated as a BMI of 25. And to work that out, you would take your height in meters, so say 1.65, you would square it, so 1.65 times 1.65, and then you would multiply it by 25. And that should give you the weight that would be your BMI 25 weight. Now, that's not necessarily the goal weight after bariatric surgery, though, because bariatric surgery does not usually achieve a BMI of 25, although sometimes it does. But you would take that BMI 25 weight, multiply it by 0.8 prior to surgery. In the first year after surgery, I would multiply it by 1.1. So 1.1 grams of protein per kilogram ideal body weight. And after the rapid weight loss period, say beyond year 1, we're probably looking at about 1 gram of protein per kilogram ideal body weight. There's evidence that spacing the protein out over the day does the best job of avoiding muscle loss. So if, say, your ideal amount of protein is 75 grams a day, then I would aim to get 25 grams shared between breakfast and morning tea, 25 grams between lunch and afternoon tea, and 25 grams between dinner and supper. It's ideal that your food intake be nutrient dense. So you've got the same or actually higher nutrient requirements after bariatric surgery than you had before. I say higher because you're in a situation where you've got less stomach acid, and stomach acid is required for the solubilization of some nutrients. And you haven't got much stomach acid after bariatric surgery. You may have also had a malabsorptive procedure, such as a bypass, where you have less absorptive surface in your small intestine. So we generally need to put in higher doses of quite a few things. So we're also in the situation where you need more nutrients than you did before surgery, but you've got a much smaller opportunity to get them in. So it's going to be really important that you make good food choices. The vitamins go so far, but there's a whole lot of things in food that are not in vitamin supplements. Some of them are called phytochemicals or phytonutrients, and they don't fit the criteria of a vitamin. And the criteria for a vitamin is that it is vital or essential to health, and that if you don't get enough, then you get a deficiency disease. That doesn't occur with some of the protective factors or the phytonutrients in plants, but they enhance our health. So they protect us from diabetes and heart disease. You've also got the protein, the fat, the carbohydrate in food, which are not in your vitamin supplements. And there's better choices of protein, fat, and carbohydrates. We want whole proteins, we want essential fatty acids, and we want low glycemic index carbohydrates. So making good food choices will generally find those things naturally. We want variety, and for example, within a food group, there are benefits to different members of that group, although they have something in common. So for example, in the fruit group, what they have in common is that they're generally high in vitamin C. There are particular plant chemicals that fruit is high in, and some of them are high in potassium, but they're not all high in everything. So for example, if bananas are the only fruit that you eat, bananas are not particularly high in vitamin C, but oranges are. Bananas are high in potassium. Oranges also are, but some other fruits are not. So by getting a bit of a variety, you get the best of everything that group has to offer. And the next is convenience. We need to be thinking about what's easy. You want to sign up to do this forever. So it needs to be something practical. So often with clients, I might be devising something. In some cases, it might be a liquid meal because they don't get much of a meal break. Or for a snack, we might just be going for the most dense option, which might be 6 macadamia nuts, for example. So it needs to be convenient for you. It might involve some of those already torn up salad bags in the supermarket, and that's all okay. You need to be consistent. So we need there to be a pattern. And when there is a pattern to the way you eat, your body responds really well to that. So what your body can do is it can have your digestive juices ready for that meal, and that will enable your body to process that meal much easier. It can also have your appetite ready for that meal. And so it expects you to eat at lunchtime. And if you don't, you can find yourself having a low blood sugar a bit later or feeling really hungry. So consistency is a way for your brain to know what's going to happen. And it enables you to fall back on autopilot because your body knows what you've done before at this time. It can help you to make those good choices again if you can create a consistent good habit. And you want to be planned. So doing some planning makes it far easier for you to follow through with your good intentions. So having a bit of a meal structure, having an intention, and even if you're going to be eating out in a food court, imagining yourself or visualizing yourself going to the salad stand and what you're going to order from there can actually help you to follow through and actually do it. Whereas if you just arrive and you're faced with a whole lot of options, you've got the smells of different options, you've also got your previous behavior that guides what to do, and your brain will fall back on that and it might drag you along to somewhere that perhaps gets you not such a good food choice. So if you're looking to make a change, visualize what you want to happen and your brain will help you out. So now if we have a little look at each of the meals individually, breakfast, we're looking for about 200 to 250 calories. We're looking for protein, and breakfast is not traditionally somewhere that we get a lot of protein. Eggs are probably one of the highest protein common choices. You get about 7 grams of protein in an egg. So even if you had 2, you might be getting 14 grams. If you think back to what we said about aiming to get 75 grams in the day, we need 25 between breakfast and morning tea, which means morning tea would ideally be high in protein as well. But breakfast is a time when it can be socially acceptable to get some fibre. So a good way to get some fibre and a bit of protein might be baked beans, or it might be a high fibre cereal like an all bran with some milk or some high protein yogurt on there. But that gives you a bit of a guide. This shows you a page from the Portion Perfection for Bariatrics book. So you can see how I've laid out the meal plan. It's a visual meal plan. And the evidence is that when you see food choices and you see what to do, you have a far better recollection of what to do than if I just tell you or if I give you a printed handout. Words are not as memorable as pictures. So what you see here is the layout for the toast and toppings page, but there's all sorts of options. So on the toast and toppings page, we've got a chart at the top. It says to get you 220 calories, this one is, to choose 1 bread serve, 1 add-on, 1 free food. We've got the bread serves here, and there's 100 calories in each one. We've got the add-ons here, and there's 100 calories in each one. And we've got the free foods here, and there's only about 20 calories or less in each of those. So we're looking for 1, 1, and 1. So in its simplest form, it might be 1 slice of multigrain toast, half a cup of cottage cheese, and some tomato. But it could be any combination. Now you can see there's little blue dots by each of those food choices. And if we just hone in there, the blue dot contains the number of grams of protein in that food. So you can see that cottage cheese was a really good choice. And you can see the protein contents of a range of foods there. When we think of snacks, what I'm looking for is about 100 calories for a snack. So not necessarily a cupful, but a 100 calorie serve for snacks. We want it to be nutritious, and we want some protein where possible. If it's a morning tea snack, that's really where a protein supplement is valuable. And something that I generally recommend is that you maintain a protein supplement forever. So the one that I generally recommend is the Feel Good Tasteless Collagen Protein. And I'd recommend 2 scoops of that a day, which will give you about 30 grams of protein, which takes the pressure off the rest of the day. So if you're looking for 80 grams of protein, getting 30 by supplement leaves 50 by food, which means that everything doesn't have to be protein, protein, protein. You can generally fairly easily get 20 grams of protein at lunch and dinner. So it takes the pressure off the other snacks. If you can get your protein in water during the day, or add it to a cup of coffee at morning tea, or something along those lines, add it to a yogurt, then it means there is space to have a piece of fruit as a snack, and there's room for some vegetables. So looking at the fruits, I've focused on some of the fruits being vital snacks. So one's giving you the key nutrients. So that is fruit. And a 100 calorie serve of fruit is a large piece of fruit, the size of a large apple, which will be about a cupful, or it's 2 smaller pieces of fruit the size of kiwi fruit. It's also 1 medium banana or 1 small mango. I'd consider them all to be that 1 large piece of fruit, or somewhere around a cupful. With nuts, it's about 20 grams, which is about 14 cashews or 14 almonds, or you can see the quantities for the different nuts there. It might be vegetables and dip. So here you would choose 1 vegetable and 1 dip. So you can see it would be 2 tablespoons of hummus or a quarter of a cup of tzatziki, or a tablespoon of an oily dip like a pesto style. Now I can see what I've got on this screen is actually from the international book rather than the Australian book. The Australian book actually shows you Australian yogurts, and you've got a choice of something like 20 that all fit the nutritional criteria that I've set. So they come in a 100 calorie approximate serve size, and you'll be able to see how many grams of protein in each. And then we've got a range of higher protein choices. This is the Portion Perfection Snacker, and it comes with a chart that tells you what you could put in each size container to be a 100 calorie snack. So for example, it might be a boiled egg in this larger one, or it might be nuts in the smaller one. It might be yogurt in this one, or it might be dried fruit in this one, or it might be a combination of carrot sticks in here and hummus in here, and together they make up a 100 calorie snack. So all of these products are available on our website at greatideas.net.au. For lunches, we're looking again for 200 to 250 calories. Be good to get some fibre in there from some salad or low starch vegetables, and some protein. Here's an example of how the sandwich page is set out. So again, we've got 1 serve of bread, 1 serve of protein, 1 mini add-on, 1 serve of salad. So in its simplest form, it is actually an open sandwich. So it's 1 slice of bread, or it's half a sandwich. So 1 slice of bread, your protein. So here it might be 40 grams of ham. We've got 1/6 of an avocado, and then we've got a combination of salad vegetables. This is our kit and carry. So it's an insulated lunch bag, and it contains everything you might want to take to lunch or out in the car if you're planning to be eating kind of on the road. So it's a fairly compact kit. You can see how big it is. It contains an ice brick. This is the cutlery pouch. It has small-headed fork and spoon, which makes it a slow eating process, which is ideal. It contains a knife, which is not a pointy knife, so it doesn't stab into your bag or into you. It is serrated, so it's sharp enough to cut a tomato, and it's good for spreading avocado. You get a little sauce or dressing container, so you can put in just that right amount of sauce or dressing. It's got measurements on the side. Comes with the snacker, and this one is our Bari Prepper. So the Bari Prepper is like the Bariatric Plate that you'll see, but it's in a container. It's made of borosilicate glass, which means it's oven safe, and it can go in the microwave, etc. So the idea and the wording on the bottom of the container shows that you fill half with protein and half with either low starch vegetables, or this amount of low starch vegetables, which is the asparagus, this amount of carbohydrate, which is the corn. Evening meals, again, we're looking for 200 to 250 calories. We're looking for protein, we're looking for fibre, and we would make use of the Bariatric Plate. So the Bariatric Portion Perfection Plate is designed to hold 1 cup when you fill just the base of the plate, 2 centimetres deep in the middle. And then it's ideally filled half with protein, half with salad or low starch vegetables, or if you are going to have some carbohydrate, just make it this optional little section here. So that's how these plates here have been filled, half with protein. This one has a tablespoon of gravy on some chicken. This one is the bolognese, and this one is some salmon. And then we've got the little bit of carbohydrate on each of these plates. The words around the outside of the plate relate to all the behaviours required to get the best tolerance of food after bariatric surgery. If you ever feel like food is getting stuck partway down, this is the solution. And the idea is that the food should be chopped small enough to get through this circle at the base of the plate also, because you haven't got a lot of grinding space in your stomach, but the job of your stomach is to grind up food until it is liquid and then let it into your intestine. So portion perfection is an eating plan that's based on what you see in the orange book. You can see the style of it. It's divided into different meals. You can see all the different food choices and how to make that up. But everything else works with it. So the plate helps you eat the meals that are in the book. The container helps you eat the same meals as were on the plate. There is a portion bowl here which shows cup measures on the inside. So if you're having a cereal, the book shows you what volume of cereal to have, and you can just pour it to the right level in the bowl. You've got the lunch bag that we saw through. You've got a recipe book over here, which is called the 4-week weight loss menu plan. And the special thing I've done with that is it actually works not only with our bariatric products, but we also have a range of weight loss products without surgery, and they're along a purple theme. So the book is purple, the container is purple. I've made the lunch bag purple so nobody can actually tell any difference from the bariatric version to the standard one. It just has this smaller container in there. But the book actually creates a recipe. For example, it might be a lasagna, and then it shows you what proportion of that lasagna is yours if you're following a bariatric plan, but also what proportion if you're a woman aiming to lose weight without surgery or a man aiming to lose weight without surgery. And those two quantities go with the purple book and the larger portion plate. Yeah, so there's a portion accurate photo of your bariatric meal. There's a nutritional breakdown of your bariatric serve. And some of the meals are actually recipes for one. So it shows the ingredients to just make your one serve. So it gives you ideas for meals and snacks. It gives you protein guidance. It helps create that structure that can be or become your autopilot. The recipes also fit the concept. And you can ask any questions through our social media. There is a little offer there where you can get a free 7-day sample meal plan from greatideas.net.au/menu plan. And we'll send you a little 7-day meal plan. The other thing that we do is this Beyond Bariatric Surgery logo, which is the logo that represents the courses, the online courses that we've created. Now, there's 2 courses. One is the pre-bariatric surgery mini course, which is perfect for anyone who doesn't have a dietitian or doesn't have an experienced bariatric dietitian. So it really just covers the consults for pre-bariatric surgery, what to be thinking about, what to expect from a dietitian's perspective, what to do for the fluid phase, the puree phase, and the solid phase. And that's all that it covers. There's some recipes and things in there for smoothies and guidance for the products that you need. Then we've got the Essentials course, which is a 6-week course, which is designed for long-term eating. So once you're on solid food or further down the track, it's kind of a back on track. Let's get the structure happening. So it gives you meal plans. It helps you use those portion control tools, gives you recipes. And Damien's going to post links to the bariatric courses under the video. So I hope you find that useful. I will be in the group to answer some questions. And it's been my pleasure, and I hope to see you again. So thanks. Good evening.